What's up all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of maintenance work to the 2014 Nissan GTR before it gets sent all the way to Houston from Chicago for a retune. Now, if you want to know more about this car, go ahead and check out the Instagram, the TikTok, and this channel for other videos about this car. This is a 2014 Nissan GTR drag car, and we're trying to get it back racing for the summer. All right, so a little basic information. As you can see here, I have brand new ID 2600X injectors from Injector Dynamics. These new injectors from Injector Dynamics, the 1700X, the 1300X, the 2600Xs, the 1050Xs, the X series in general, they're amazing for cars that are on ethanol because the internals are really built to avoid corrosion from corrosive fuels. When you have an injector that is not as built internally, I believe these use stainless steel internals, so they hold better. I forgot what it was exactly. I'm no engineer here, but the ones I have on the car right now for my secondaries are ID 2000s. And I know a lot of people have problems with those corroding and actually sometimes causing engine failure. So I just didn't want those in there while I'm getting it retuned. So we're going to go ahead and install these. So a little bit of background for those of you who don't know anything about cars, a little bit of education for you because I do have a background in education. Normal car is a V6. Normal car is going to have 6 injectors. So I have 3 on this side, 3 on that side. That's like my factory fuel rail location, even though those aren't factory fuel rails. So on a car that's under 1,000 horsepower, you're fine with just 6 injectors, right? You just upgrade the injectors to make them bigger so they can flow more fuel. But the problem is when you get higher horsepower cars, usually above 1,000 horsepower, when you get a really big injector, it's really hard to control idle and just low drivability, because when you have a 2150cc injector, right, you're just going to be dumping fuel into the engine all the time. So the 12 injector setup, what that really helps with is it gives you best of both worlds, right? Now I can have a smaller injector here. I can even have a 1050cc injector, or what I have, like a 1300cc, which is a smaller injector. I can really control the idle and the low driving just fine. And boom, right when I start flooring it, the boost kicks up and I need that extra fuel. These secondaries activate, and right, boom, I have 2,000 more cc's of fuel flowing in for a total of 3,300 cc's, right? With these, the 1300s and the 2600s, that's a total of 3,900 cc's of fuel, which is more than enough to make your 2,000 plus horsepower. And AMS even makes an 18 injector manifold, which is insane. I've never seen a car run that personally, but yeah. So a little bit of background information about that. As far as me, because I'm going to send the car to the shop Houston to get a general health check. They'll be doing a compression test, a leak down test, a boost leak test. Yeah, I could do that all in my shop, but the reason I want them to do it is so I have paperwork in case I ever want to sell this car. And plus they're the ones who built the car, so I kind of want them to do the retune and just give me, for my, just for my sake, just a nice general health check on the car. And obviously because I'm putting the bigger injectors in, they've got to retune it. And Rob Tune, who's well known in the community, who has got this car's really fast, already into the 7s. This car's already in the mid 7s. I want him to do the retune, and with their dyno and his ability and their technical relationship that they have, I truly believe that they're going to be the best ones to tune this car. So that's why it's going out tomorrow. But before I got out there, I figured, hey, let's put 6 injectors, if not 12. If those injectors test bad on the bottom, the 1300Xs, I'm also going to replace those. And a fun thing, sorry this intro is a little bit long, but a fun thing that the shop Houston told me was that, hey, might as well just test the brand new injectors. Now I know if FIC, which is Fuel Injector Clinic, they give you flow charts of all their new injectors so you can confidently put those in. I didn't see them in these injectors. Now, even though these are new injectors, I did buy them secondhand from someone who had them. So I don't know if he had a flow chart and just never gave them to me. So nothing against Injector Dynamics. They're obviously the best. That's why I'm using them. But Shop Houston kind of put it in my head, and they have a good point, right? Hey, it only takes 5-10 minutes to check them. I know they're brand new. Might as well check them for peace of mind, right? So they're right, and I am going to check these as well as the ones on the car. So stay tuned. We're going to be pulling these injectors off, testing all the injectors, putting it back together, and this car is going to be headed to Shop Houston, baby. So I'm not going to do a whole DIY, but I'll just go over the gist of it. What you want to do first is depressurize the fuel system, which what you want to do is disconnect your fuel pump or your fuel relay, then start the car, let it run until the line goes dry and the car shuts off. That pretty much depressurizes it. Then you disconnect your battery, take off your fuel lines as you seen I just did. These are all loose and free on my secondary rail. And then what I did was I'm just kind of analyzing my wiring. So that's my factory pigtail. We can see the positive is on the left side of the connector if I'm looking at it like that. The negative is on the right side. Now injectors don't have a polarity, so it can go either way, but it's still good to follow kind of like the factory spec. So if red is on this side, right on the left side of the top, from the top, I want to make sure I stay like that with the new injector. So all you got to do to depin the connector is take a little pick, lift up on that tab. Zoom in over there. Yep, see the tab right there? You're going to lift up on that tab and just pull back on the wire on both sides. Depin's pretty easy. I wanted to see if I could use the factory pin so I don't have to repin the harness, but unfortunately you could tell that's a little different. This one has a little tab on the bottom, whereas the factory one, this is a little bit of a different design. So I did, nonetheless, I still tried it, but those didn't lock into place on the new connectors. So I didn't want to run like that because obviously when you have a lot of horsepower, you don't want these popping out. You can cause an engine to go bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to declamp from right over there, declamp the old pins. I got my new pins, obviously. I'm going to put the new pins in. They're going to push right in, and they're going to lock into the new connector. And that's how I rewire it. So it's really pretty straightforward. But the last thing, before I do that, I want to make sure the new injectors work with my rail. Now he said this was for a stock rail. I know Injector Dynamics makes it for either a stock rail or a T1R rail. I don't know what fitment the Alpha rail uses. I'm hoping it's stock style injectors. The guy I bought it from said, yeah, they are stock style injectors. So I'm hoping his word is right, but obviously, before I just commit and do all this work for no reason, I'm gonna make sure that this fits on there. And then if it does, I'll go ahead and depin all 6 of them, repin all 6 of them, test them, and they're gonna go back in. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We depressurized, and we're gonna move forward with this. So the Alpha fuel rail is held on by 4 or 5 millimeters, 4 or 5 millimeter hex bolts. As you saw, I did that in a little crisscross pattern. I forgot the torque on those. I'll look it up when I gotta put them back on. But before I take the rail off, I'm gonna go put some eyewear on, which I should have had anyway, so I don't get fuel on my face. Usually I have a mat down too, but this is a wrap, so my paint's kind of already protected. So I'm not as worried. I'm not doing anything crazy. Before we keep everything organized, magnetic tray. And we're just gonna kind of wiggle this up. All the injectors are already disconnected, so should just come right up with all 6 injectors. 2 of them are stuck into the car. Yeah, it just comes out just like that. What I want to do before I went any further with this project, obviously I'm on a time constraint, so if these are the wrong injectors, I'm just going to pay Shop Houston to put them in, but obviously I want to save some money, and I like working on my own car too. Mock fit, but if before I'm putting this in right away, this is going to get a thin coat of engine oil right over here, and then we're just going to push it in and check, and boom. That's a really good fit. You can see just like the other ones, they wiggle around in there, but it's a tight seal because of that O-ring on top. So we do know that these injectors are good. A little bit longer than these. That's because obviously these are bigger injectors, a different style of injector. So let's compare the two actually while I'm here. Wow, this is a way longer injector. Oh, I'm looking at it the wrong way. So it would be like that technically, right? Yep, like that. So the bottom is fine. It goes in the rail just the same way. We got the same fitment, but the top is a lot longer, which shouldn't matter. I guess the rail would just sit a little bit higher. When you go to tighten it down, that's not going to cause any issue, right? It's going to hit this bottom out, and we're going to torque it down. So it's a taller injector. It's going to look cooler. I don't know what color this was factory, if it was that color or not from the factory, but better injector. I know the internals are better built. We can't see that. We're going to go ahead and continue with this. Take all the 6 off, and then we're going to repin this one and just make sure everything is good. Next up, we're going to be taking off the intake manifold, which is going to be 1 line, 2 line, 1 connector, engine clamp, which is just pretty easy that you just squeeze this in, take this pin out. Show you that real quick. Take that pin out. I know Vibrant has a new design now. I saw someone kind of posting that. This comes off and that just kind of releases. Easy peasy, and you just make sure you don't want to lose that part. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. 1 more line, 2 more lines. And then these bolts, these are little, I believe they're 8 millimeter 12-point socket bolts from what I remember last time. So we're just going to do the same thing, right? We're going to go outside in, and then we're gonna pull the manifold off. And then we're gonna have access to our other 6 injectors. All right, did all those things, remove those lines, remove those bolts. Oh, I forgot one thing. Disconnect the throttle body, that would help. One connector. Oh, wow. What's wrong with your connector? Thought you were friends. There it is. Always want to make sure the wiring's not gonna get tangled up while I pull up on this manifold. I'm by myself, so it might be a little bit tricky. Let's go ahead and get under like a server and grab this side. 1, 2, 3. All right. There you go. Got the manifold off. What a big boy. Hey, 2JZ. You want a new manifold? Boo! Let's put it right over here. Now we've got this. So what's holding the alpha fuel rail now, we've got 2 lines on each side. 1, 2. Realistically, I'm gonna try to do this without removing the lines. I want a flexible line. It seems like I have enough space to do this without removing the lines. So I'm gonna remove the bolts. I think they're 12 millimeters. From what I remember, holding this alpha rail in. Where they at though? Where they at though? Where they at though? Oh, there they go. They're actually hex. Looks the same size, 5 or maybe like a 6 or a 7. There's one there, one there, one there, and one there. We're gonna remove those. We're gonna lift up these lines. All right, good old snap-on tools. Got both of them off. I dropped one washer. I'll go get that with the magnetic tool, but there was just 6 millimeter bolts holding that rail in. Let's do one side at a time just to make it slightly easier for us. Kind of see what we're working with. Now it looks like these injectors have an adapter. Oh nice, it's like a little plug and play adapter for these injectors, so you didn't want to mess with the stock harness. I do kind of want to label them before I take them off. So you can see my 12 injectors were labeled like this says 3. I kind of want to do the same thing with the new pigtails and the other ones over here. So I'm going to label this 3, 5, and 1. Got those labeled. Technically, you have to disconnect them right now. I just want to see if I could finesse it like I think I could finesse it. Hey, I can. Save me some time when trying to take out these stupid lines. Let's take this one off first. I should put a rag down there just in case. Wow, that is in there. Let's connect it first. Oh, look at that. That is a plug and play harness for this exact type of connector. That'd be so nice if I had this plug and play harness, which I could probably go ahead and buy instead of depinning. Man, I like plug and play, dude. But let's see. But man, this would have been so nice having these. We instead have to rewire everything, which is kind of annoying, but time crunch, we'll get her done. But yeah, let's wiggle out. Injector number 1, really in there. Fuel came out a lot. So this is the one we pulled out. It's got this spacer type deal going on here. It's the same looking style injector as the other one. It says 7X. Oh, what? Yo, this is an ID 1700X on the bottom. Let's go. It says ID 1700X. So I was totally wrong the whole time. It was a 1700X on the bottom. So then I'm gonna put a 2600 on top. That's gonna be a lot of injector, man. The guy was wrong. He said it was a 1300X. Again, person I bought it from. That just makes me wonder, man. But that's, again, whatever, I bought it knowing that it wasn't, the car didn't make sense. The times that they told me didn't make sense. A lot of the stuff that they were telling me just didn't make sense. But I saw the car with my own eyes. I still purchased it because I knew it was going to be some work. I'm still happy with the car, with the purchase. Yeah, I might have paid a little extra for it, but it's going to be where I want it to be. You can see I already put the new valve covers on there. I'm doing my injector thing. It's going to make the car mine. The problem with this is I have the 1700X on the bottom. The ones I have that I was going to put in that are brand new are 1300X. So I just might have to give this to the shop Houston to replace if they don't test right. It is what it is. They're going to be taking off most of this stuff anyways to do all the testing, and it's very easy plug and play stuff, so no big issue for me there. And who knows, I might even just have them install this. I might even have them install these, because if they have a plug and play harness, I can save myself a bunch of wiring. Why not, right? Because look, I can plug that in just like that. And then this would plug into right over my Secondary injector harness is right here. This should be a factory style. Look at that. Boom. Wire everything, we could just do that. But either way, I mean, it's not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and take out the rest of these. And then we're taking the testing. But while I'm taking these out, I'm going to mark which cylinder these came out of so I could test it and see how all the cylinders were reacting. And I could put them back in the right cylinder just because let's get to stay consistent that way. We are now at the injector machine. I'm going to kind of show you how this goes down. I labeled the injectors all from 1 through 6, with you can see kind of this one being number 5, if it gets in focus. But you see, I have 6 total tubes. Right now what I did was I wanted to refill some of the flow injector test fluid into the machine. So you take this little funnel, add your fuel. This is your drain, so this actually drains right into the machine. So I had another 60 in there, so now it should be a total of 120, which is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off. To set this machine up real quick, you have a bunch of different adapters and stuff in this drawer right over here. What you wanna do is find the right adapter for your injectors, which I believe I already have on here. Yep, those are it. So you can see my seal, it pushes in there, gets a good seal, just like that. If that wasn't, say that was too big or too small, you can go one size up. You can see obviously that's too big, and then the one size down is obviously too small. So I know I have the right sides in there. And then we have a plate on the bottom over here that seats. And then you do have different adapters. If you feel like your injectors can seat in there a little bit better, you could use different adapters. Like I could use this if I wanted to, but I believe with these injectors, oh yeah, I might have to use an adapter for them. You see how they're not really sitting in there nice because of that O-ring. So maybe I'll use a little adapter with them. These look like they'll fit fine, so I could actually do it kind of like that if I wanted to. So instead of the plate, this would go right in there, and I can seat the injector like that. So either way you do it, you know, you just want a good fit. Once you find your right adapters, I'm gonna try it without the. I'm gonna go ahead and try it without that adapter and see how it goes. Screw it, I'll do it this way. I'll put these adapters in. So, boom, 2. Cool, so you see I got the adapters in. Let's move this camera up a little bit. So now what I wanna do is I wanna have a good seal up on top. So this is number 6. We'll just keep number 6 on the 6, just to keep it friendly. All right, let's see if that worked. There you go. It's in there. The problem with this is why you want it to be a really good fit is if you don't have a good fit, once it's pressurized this, it's gonna go all over the place. But that looks like it's gonna work. It's very, very close. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna oil up all 6 of them. We're gonna kind of do it all at once. So that's number 2.
Yeah, I think if you oil all 6, you shouldn't have an issue at all getting it in there.
Yeah, I'll get in there really nice. Once you get all of them in, you're gonna place them in place, which is number 3. All right, so we got them all in. Now this is gonna go right down. We're gonna make sure they all line up. Our adapter plates. There you go. Those 3 seated in place. There you go, there you go, there you go. All right, we have all 6 seated in place, as you saw. Now we're gonna take our little screws, our little cone screws. Here they are. We're gonna screw them down and get some pressure to the rail, so when these ejectors get pressurized, they hold pressure. Here's a little pressure gauge. And after that, we're gonna hook them up with our wires, our testing wires. Again, we know that injectors aren't usually polarized, but still. All right, there you go. They're snug on that side. You want to go too much because you want to crush your injector, make them oblong. We're going to start with that. Take our wire harness. They're all numbered 1 through 6. Now the one side has an arrow, so I'm just making the arrow face up just to be consistent with all my injectors. This is number 4. All right, so far you've seen the setup has been pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Just so you see what we have going on here. What we want to do now is we want to run our program. So our first program, what we can do, I'm just going to do we can do a high-speed spray value test, I guess, or let's do an idling test. We'll go number 2, working time, it goes 10 minutes. We don't need to use all 10 minutes. What this is going to do is this is going to fire our injectors. And what we're looking for here is consistency. We're going to look at the spray patterns of of the nozzles, and we're going to make sure all of them are spraying equals amounts. All right, so I'm going to make sure this is drained. Go ahead and hit start. And number 2 isn't even firing. Why? There you go. Now I feel like I'm in the pins. I don't know why this is being so weird. But let's go ahead and just drain this. I'm hoping I'm in the pins now. Let's go ahead and start it up again and see what happens. There you go. I think I just wasn't on the pins correctly. I have to kind of bend those pins up. Let's go ahead and run this again. I'll speed this up for you all. All right. So Howard here said it might have been a little bit different because I had air in the rails in the beginning, which he had a really good point, but obviously we won't have any air now. So let's look at the new ratings. We've got 58, we've got 54. Now we got to also consider this one might have had air in there because it wasn't spraying. We've got 62, 56, 56, and 56. So 4, 5, and 6 were all at 56, which is looking good. This one was spraying a little much at 62. This one was a little low at 54, and this one was a little much at 58. So, yeah, we obviously still have inconsistency. What we're going to do now is before we go ahead and do the sonic cleaning, let's do a high-speed spray test, and then we're going to do a leak test to make sure they're not leaking. So we're going to go ahead and go to number 10. I can even do an accelerating test, number 5, but let's just go to number 10. This is, I forgot what this means, but let's just put that down to 500.
I forgot to close the valve. Let's return, where was that 1,000? Ready, set, go.
All right, our spray patterns are looking decent, nothing too crazy. This is more of like a direct pattern than it does a spray pattern. Almost like direct injection. Alright, 9. Boom. Alright. This is pretty consistent with our last findings, right? Except for this one looks a little lower. We have exactly 80, exactly 80. We have 76. We have freaking 88 over here. We have 78 here and 82 over here. So injector number 3 is clearly spraying a little too much, which may mean it's a leaky injector. That's kind of giving me a telltale sign on that. But I think we have our answers here. Obviously, we have a lot of inconsistencies here. Let's go ahead and do our leak down test. So for a leak down test, we can obviously leave the valve open or closed. It doesn't matter. What it does is we're going to go to number 7. It's going to pressurize our rail, but not fire the injectors. And while the injectors are pressurized and obviously not firing, we should not see any dripping over here. So I'm going to maybe zoom in on for this one. This will be better with the camera in my hand. So we're going to do it and do it for a minute. 3, 2, 1, go. We've got pressure in the rail, you can see, for about 45 to 50 psi. Let's look at all the injectors. Looks like cylinder 1 is slightly, it's got a little jippy going on in there. I don't know if that's residual from the last part. 2 looks pretty solid. 3 looks like there's no leaking at all. 4 looks pretty solid. 5 has that little drippy look to it as well. And number 6 looks pretty solid. Looks a little wet, but so far all 6 of these, 1 obviously it looks like it's about to drip down. Yep, there you go. It's about to drip down. 1, 2, and 5 are all looking like they just have a slight leak. And then 3, 4, and 6 all look pretty good right now. So not the leakiest. I mean, I've had injectors before where they're just pouring, pissing out fluid. I really thought 3 was going to have a leak because of fuel that was flowing out. So not the worst leak. I mean, we didn't even get 1 drip out of them, but obviously not in the best shape either. What we're going to do now at this point, we're going to do our ultrasonic cleaning, which is number 1. How we do that is we got a little tray right here. We have our ultrasonic cleaning fluid. This is going to be a 10-to-1 mix. with distilled water. So 10 parts of distilled water to 1 part of cleaner. You usually get about 16 fluid ounces, or about, yeah, this is about 2 cups of water, right? So 16, which would be what? If I'm using 16 ounces, 1 to 10, would that would be 1.6 fluid? If I'm doing 16 ounces, right? Yeah. A 10 to 1 ratio would be what? 1.6 ounces of the cleaning fluid to 15.4 ounces of water. Sorry, yeah, 14.4 ounces of water. Nerd! And then, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to then pour into our ultrasonic cleaning machines. The injectors sit on top, and then we just run the program. All right, so to do the sonic cleaning, you can see I got my solution in there. I had my distilled water already here. We're going to go ahead and remove one and trois. And then these, oh God, if they're not broken. What we're going to do is these injectors are just going to sit on top of that plate. We're pretty much just going to have them sit on this little plate, just like that. Make sure the tips are soaked in. Just the tip. We're going to go ahead and run the ultrasonic cleaning, which is number 1. And this is going to start shaking. We're going to do a 10-minute cleaning. What it does is it causes a vibration on this plate. It activates the injectors and everything just kind of shakes in there, and a little bit of shaking and baking. So you're pretty much rapid firing the injectors while soaked in the cleaning fluid and causing a little vibration. And that's gonna make it a little better. There you go. There you go. All that gunk will be in the liquid. And after 10 minutes, after the ultrasonic cleaning, we do a retest and we see if the results are any better. Hey, if there's leaking because there was some dirt and debris in the injectors and we caused it to not leak anymore, which by the way, they weren't really leaking bad. Good sign for us. And if they're flowing inconsistently because there's some debris in between the injector and the pin and whatever, then hey, we got good injectors. If they're flowing well, we're gonna run them. If not, I don't think they're gonna be repaired. I usually don't see anything better after you clean your injectors like these. From my experience, I've only done like 3 or 4. If they're bad, they usually stay bad, but right, you always want to give it a shot. And either way, I'm gonna have Shop Houston tomorrow, or I guess they're gonna get the car on Thursday. I'm just gonna tell them to put new injectors in there. I'm leaning on having them put new injectors in there anyways. I thought these were 1300s coming in. That's what I was kind of informed about. Obviously, there's 1700s, which unfortunately I don't have on hand. So I'm gonna give Shop Houston my 1300s and my 2600s, and then they'll have 1700s over there, and I'll tell them, hey, we're about to retune the car. Should we run the 1326 combo, or should we run the 1726 combo? Hear their expertise. I'm assuming they're gonna tell me to run the 17-2600 combo, just because the more injector the better, and the amount of power I want to make, which is going to be between 1600 and 1800 to the wheels, about 2000 to the engine. That's probably going to be good for us. We're going to want more fuel. So anyways, we got 7 minutes left in this. We'll come back and finish this test off. Thank you for watching, by the way. If you're still watching this long video, I appreciate you guys watching. My whole purpose of these kind of vlogs are kind of being informational, and at the same time, you know, just showing you what's going on in my life and with my project cars. So I think it's a good mix of both, right? You got to see what's going on with the cars, what I deal with on a daily basis, and you're learning some things, right? If you didn't know how to use an injector cleaning machine before, now you do. Also, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to make a separate video on just this machine and how to fully use it from the scratch. Ultrasonic cleaning is done. What I'm going to do is I usually drain that out into a bottle, and then we can kind of see if we see any dirt, any grime that comes out of these injectors. We're now going to put them back in their original positions, and we're going to run different tests. This time around, we'll probably start off with the leak test. Then we'll do the idling test. And instead of the high-speed test, maybe we'll try the shifting or accelerating test so you guys can kind of see a different type of test. These are really cool too. Essentially, they'll give you the same data, the spray data. Test number 2, post ultrasonic cleaning. Ready? Let's make sure they're all dry. Set, go. Looking at you, number 1. Looking at you, number 1. Oh. Oh la la, so far so good. I'll report back in 30 seconds. Howard just figured out how to up pressure. Obviously, it's pretty obvious. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but we're at 80 PSI, and I'll let you all be the judge. I think they all look good. Wow, this is the first time I actually seen the ultrasonic cleaning work, and we actually upped the pressure from whatever it was at before, 50 to 80. It's just right there, up and down pressure. I never even thought about doing that, but yeah. So that's good. Obviously, there's no more leaks, so it might have just been gunk making them leak. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start our first test, which is the idling test. And then we're going to try a few different tests. Let's do the accelerating and the shifting speed test. So this is the idling test. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run it to get the air out of the system, make sure they're all firing. Boom. They're all firing nice, and I don't know what the heck happened over there. It looks like a little bit of a, looks like cylinder 4 had a little bit of extra fun. Might have been from the ultrasonic cleaning, whatever gunk that was in there. So we got the air out of there. We're gonna go ahead and close this up. 3, 2, 1, and do this. We'll come back in about a minute and a half and let's see what the levels are at and compare them to when I first did this test. Forgot where I stopped it last time, but I'll let it run for a little bit. Maybe I'll stop it at 8:30. Still in the 2. So 8:30. Stop it at 8:30. Still in the 2 spray panel looked a little weird, but 4, 5, and 6 look like they're pretty close to one another. We got 70, 68, and 69. Cylinder 1 was at 68. Cylinder 2 was at 69-ish. And then cylinder 3 was low. Before it was shooting up. Remember, this was always the one that had a lot more. Now it's showing us 66. So all of them besides cylinder 3 look like they're pretty good, right? So this is the first time I'm actually seeing a cleaning successfully work, I'll be honest with you. And it might just be because these are the 1700X injectors. I know the X handle E85 a lot more, a lot better. So that's a good sign. What we're going to do next is, I don't know what happened. I don't know what cylinder 4 shot out. It must have been some gunk that was built in there from the ultrasonic cleaning. I'll go ahead and clean that too later on. But anywho, let's go ahead and try the high speed test. Well, let's do the accelerating test. How about that? So we go to 5. Close that. And let's do this. See what happens. I'm assuming these are pulse width adjustments, kind of like RPM. It does it 3 times. Check the spray patterns. All right, so we've got, and at the end you kind of saw this one stop spraying. That might just be because we don't have enough fluid in there. So I may have to add a little bit more fluid in there just to be sure. But looks like we've got 98. 100, 96, 100, 100, and 98. And I think this would have been 100 as well. But guys, this is looking much, much better than before the cleaning, in my opinion. They're almost all just right there. Now, obviously, cylinder 3 was shooting a lot before, and now it's shooting a little under. Cylinder 3 might just have been a little bit more worn down than the other ones. But this is pretty consistent now. Let's go ahead and try the shifting test, which is number 6. I kind of do want to add more fluid in here, but we're just going to work what we have for now. What did we do last time? The shifting test? I thought it was different, the shifting test. Second gear. All right. Look at that. Look at that. These are almost identical. So we've got 94 at cylinder 6, 94 cylinder 5, 94 cylinder 2, 94 cylinder 3, 94 cylinder 2, and 92 cylinder 1. They're almost perfect, guys. That's looking very, very, very good and promising. Now I'm just gotta think in my head, do I want to change out these injectors or not? Realistically, guys, just for my peace of mind, I think I want all 12 new injectors. I don't know the history of these injectors. I know the 2000s are trash. I've checked them. I've cleaned them. I think I have another, yeah, I do have another video of those actually. Go look back at my valve cover video. You're going to see the ID 2000s that were in the car. After the ultrasonic cleaning, they still were testing bad. But these 1700X are really impressive. They cleaned up very nicely. I do feel like we deserve one more test. We go with number 10, high-speed spray value test. Let's just see what that does. 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we run it. 3, 2, 1. The spray patterns all look very, very similar. Come on, be even, be even, be even. This is something, in my opinion, guys, you should all invest in. It does BMW injectors, it does diesel injectors, it does all different types of injectors. It's just good to have if you have a lot of cars that run E85 or race fuel. Alright, so let's see what we got over here. We've got cylinder 1 is at 90, cylinder 2 is at 93, cylinder 3 is at 90, 91, cylinder 4 is about 92. Cylinder 5 is about 93, and then cylinder 6 is at 88. So, still showing a little bit inconsistency, but if we go low-high, right? Our lowest is 88, and our highest is 93, right? And between 88 and 92, there's 5 milliliters of difference. It's not too far off. For 1700cc injectors, it's not too far off. They're not perfect. But I think what we're going to do now is let's test the brand new injectors and see how consistent those are, right? If the brand new injectors are this consistent or just as consistent, right, it's a plus or minus 5, right, in the range, then we know that these injectors are good to go. If the brand new injectors are perfect with one another, then we know, hey, let's just run brand new injectors, call it a day. Let's clean it up, clean them every 2 months or so, or not especially before, obviously, I'm storing the car. I'm going to clean these up again. So that's kind of what we got here, guys. Hey, what do you think? We should run one more test?
Yes.
Which one?
Let's do the...
Hey, I didn't do idling spray value test. I did idling test. Let's see what the difference is. Don't know what the difference is actually. But... And the last test before we conclude this, I know 6 and 2, I guess they're running out of fluid, so I got to add a little bit more fluid, which is pretty much you use the funnel, pour it in there, and then drain. But it was kind of consistent with the first readings, where number 3 was reading a little bit higher. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I do think the cleaning was beneficial. We prevented the leaks from happening. They're spraying a little bit closer to one another. And I would call it a successful cleaning. Let's put these back in the car and conclude this video. All right, all. So we just tested my primary injectors. Found out there were 1700Xs. I thought there were 1300Xs, so that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I can't put brand new ones in there because I just had the 1300Xs, which I can't find anyways. They're probably at home. So we're going to go ahead and have Shop Houston put brand new 1700X injectors in there just because I want that peace of mind. And then I'm going to keep these as well because they're good. So I'll have them just put those in another box, send them back. I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. So we learned a lot about the car. We know that we're going to put new injectors in there, 1700Xs. We know we had the plug-and-play harnesses for those. I was going to repin this and put the 2600Xs in there, guys, but I'm more leaning towards either one, have the Shop Houston do it. Not that I can't do basic wiring, but I feel like they would just do a cleaner job. I'm not going to be, you know, I've never done it before. I've never pinned in, actually I've done it once before, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't like repinning. You could see like whoever did this had like the seal in there. I don't know. I don't want to mess with that right now. I'm always on a time constraint. It's already 2 a.m. in the morning. So I'm going to go ahead and just have Shop Houston either repin it, which would be my second option. My first option is, hey, I want to kind of keep the stock connectors and just do the plug and play like I have in my primaries. I think that's a perfect, easy option, right? It's not going to cost too much. You saw how fast I took apart the injector rails. Realistically, it should only charge me max 1 hour of labor to swap out the top injectors. Obviously, I don't know what they charge and how they charge it, but I don't think they're going to charge me too much for swapping out the injectors. I mean, I've done this just myself in like 2 hours. If you want, probably 3 hours, 2-3 hours total. They're going to be in here anyways, taking all this stuff apart for the leak down and coolant compression test. So anyways, again, I'm gonna let them do their thing. I'm no shop. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Change out the 1700Xs. They're gonna wire in or preferably use a plug and play kit for the 2600Xs on top. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. I'm not gonna put that on video. You guys don't need to see that. You've seen me do that multiple times before. What I usually do is I usually torque everything to perfect spec. I'm probably just gonna do everything just hand snug because I know they're gonna be coming in here again anyways. And I'm gonna conclude the end of this video here. Now I'm gonna have one more thing after this. If you wanna keep on watching, it's optional, where I'm testing out these injectors. So if you wanna see that, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna make this another video, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and make that another video. I think that'll just be a cool little video. Hey, testing out brand new injectors to see how they flow. So go ahead, I'll link the video to that below. I'm gonna conclude this video. Today is June 6th, 2023. June 7th, she's getting shipped out. Hopefully by June 9th, it'll be at Shop Houston. And let's see what this baby does. Thank you all for watching Adventures of Me. Late night adventures with me and Howard. Make sure to check out Howard things. He just straight piped his darn G35 all-wheel drive sedan automatic, which we're probably going to make a drift car just because drift is life. Grand National content coming out soon. Where you on?
Go do hood rat things for the hood rat fronts.
Oh, nice. We were just talking about your car and how awesome it is. Supra content coming out soon. 240 content actually coming out once I come back from London, mate. This car is getting sold tomorrow. This car just got washed. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more of my informational vlogs. I guess that's what I'll call them. Where again, you could get to see my build progresses, what I got to do with these cars. I just won top 35 at Clean Culture, which obviously top 35 isn't, the craziest thing, but hey, still, right? Out of like the 200, 300 cars that were there, top 35, I'll take it, baby. She's looking better and better the more I work on her. So again, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Peace.